Okay, my friends, another shocker du jour. This I was sent this morning. What do you think? Well, here's what I think. Get ready, because they're talking about this could be a pair of boobs. I think they're kidding around, but they do exist on the Earth. This is not them. These same structures are all over the place here, and I don't think too many creatures had more than half a dozen boobs. So I would say that this is not boobs. But I can show you real boobs. Okay, my friends, what you need to understand is this articulation. Look at this. I'm going to zoom right in there. Now you see how unbelievably structured all of these fibers are, and these heavy-duty interconnections of muscles and tendons, and these are hold on, I can back this out of here. All right, this is the very core, and this is with some tissue on it, some more, and then more. And what we're going to be able to see is things eroded in all of those different ways. And this is the chest muscle right here. Let's just look at this, because I'm going to show you female breasts. And just pay attention to all of these little lines and so forth, where all of the tissues weave together. All right, it's all over the place here, and that's just the way we're built. It's absolutely phenomenal the way the human body is built. How do these things know where to attach to each other? It just happens. It's just amazing. Okay, my friends, so here he is out exploring these, what he considers could be boobs, but they're all over the place. There's not just one or two, they're just everywhere. Now, there is a couple that are spectacular, yes, but they are not boobs. I will show you natural boobs, and I'll explain to you what's going on here. This is connective tissue, and those balls, they're actually balls, and they have a strap coming out the top of them, and that's eroded away, and what's left is the balls. I don't know how well you can see this, but they're all over the place here. These are these same connective tissue anchors. Now all of this eroded stuff, and you see all the black running down there, that is adipose tissue that just washed away and turns into mud. The connective tissue, the strong, strappy connective tissue, and the balls, they don't erode quite as easily. Not at all, hardly, the balls. Now this strappy looking stuff here, that is connective tissue, and it's just eroded all of the fatty stuff and all of the real fleshy stuff away and left the connective tissue. See right there? That's the top of what they think might be a boob. That is not. That right there is the attachment of a strap that held in there, and the strap comes out as a fiber, and that fiber locks into tissue with these anchor balls. Now this is a pretty good shot. These are the two he's looking at, and there he is right down there with his dog. This is big stuff. Now they're all over the place out here. They're not just here or there. Now all of this is what you would consider adipose tissue, which is weak and erodes. And all of that black stuff running down, that is literally from blood. Blood, when it turns oxidated or deoxygenated, it turns black. And that's what's leaking out all over here. This was just one big muscle tissue that had anchors in it. All right, this is one of the balls right here that still has the strap attached to it. I'm going to show you another one that's out at Arches National Park, which is the same thing. It has the ball and the strap. Okay, I just want to let you know, this is the POV channel, and the guy does some fabulous work. I would love to be able to interact with him, because he's always saying, I have all kinds of questions. Well, I think I am persona non grata, because I'm talking about these spectacular things that most people just can't get their mind to believe it. So I just want to say that I am commenting under the Fair Use Act, and this is, he says, I discovered geological anatomy visible from space. Now, maybe he's coming around, because at first I was not well received, and I don't know. We'll find out. But I have every right to comment about this as fair use, to make my comments relating to education and research. Okay, this is the part that's got them going here, is these two. But you see that's a strap coming out, and that was too. This is all connective tissue, and they're all over the place, these little round anchor balls. But look at this carefully. Look at the connective tissue down there. You see how it all straps around here and there? That's part of the body anatomy. That's the way the muscles invest, and they lock in to different areas in the body. All right, as you can see right here, this is the delineation of all of the different straps of connective tissue and the muscles together. Now, there's adipose tissue that's normally on top of that, which is the fatty stuff. This is where downward into the muscles, which is just below. Now, that's the outside range. Now, over here, we come down into, as it cuts down inside. So what I'm going to be showing you may be a little deeper inside here, and all the adipose tissue is gone, and we're down into these very strappy little things, and all of these little investments here are, we'll be able to see the sternum, and this is going to be a female breast, and we'll see the breast tissue on both sides, and all of these little straps coming up. Basically, it's going to be like this, these straps down here. It's a female. It's a little different, but not much. Okay, so he showed me his. I'll show you mine. Okay, my friends, this is what breasts look like. They have this certain type of tissue here. There's a fatty tissue and a nipple and all this different stuff. Sternum runs in the middle. So this is a special breast tissue that sits on top versus what I showed you before in the male. Now, this is what it looks like when all the adipose tissue erodes away, and you end up with that female breast tissue, the sternum up the center, and these are the layers of connective tissue that holds your body together. Those are breasts. What he was showing are anchors. Remember I showed you where the tissues connect, and there's these big straps of connections between tissues where they change? That's these right here. And there's a person walking down in there. Now, these are the kind of muscle tissues you have. This is what I have here in my shop, which is nothing more than muscle attached to a tendon, which ends up attaching to a bone. And this is the red stuff, is the muscle, and see all the fibers in there. The tendons have the same stuff, only that's where he is, in a tendinous area where the balls lock in. And they would have locked in somewhere up here. The little straps run out and connect to the muscle, and the bone is over here. Here's where the bone is. This is the same piece as this here, only it's, I only took this part from here over here, the picture up here. But this shows it with the bone attached, and that little ball locks the tendon into the bone. All right, that little strap right there is the piece that really locks it into the bone, and this piece here can twist a little bit like this, but it can't come away from the bone. That's what holds it into the bone. And then this is just barely gives a little tiny bit, a tendon, and then this is where it gives a lot. Originally, as it first transitions into the muscle, it's very similar to the tendon, a lot of strappy stuff. By the time you get out to here, you're into all sarcomere, muscle sarcomeres, and that's just all gooey, and it just breaks right off. So you got to understand the erosion, you got to understand the muscle, you got to understand the anatomy, you got to understand everything. You got to understand the chemistry, the whole 9 yards. This is just muscle fibers here somewhere out west, and there's the guy's van, and that's it. And then the red runs off as the red bloody stuff. He was showing a lot of stuff was black. Now, that's vein blood normally. Black blood is is different. Okay, he was in an area like this where there was tendon mats and the balls were anchored somewhere, and the strap came down and attached to the ball. The straps snap off, and some of it erodes away, and you end up seeing the balls with a little piece at the top. And here's what they look like here. Right like this. That's the balls he was looking at, and they were sticking like this, sticking straight up, and this was snapped off. And these are anchors. The straps come down, the balls lock in somewhere in the body, and they will. Your body is thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably millions in your body. Every bone has this style where all the balls lock in and the fibers run out as the tendon. That's the rope style. Then there's another style, which is a ponerosis, which is the flat style, and I believe that's where he was. He was in this style of tendon. They also still have balls. They have the straps and the balls. They have to anchor. The strap does nothing unless it anchors. Now this is another thing to look at, the linea alba. This little crack right down the center. All right, this is where your blastula, which is a ball, as the baby grows at a certain cell level, I think it's 64, it pops inside out and it wraps around and it makes a seal called the linea alba. And you see that after these creatures died and they were soaked in the waters, when they dried back out, it snapped, and that linea alba, little tiny crack, shows up all the way down the center of the gut. If you're lucky enough to find a place where you can see that, and I have, and it's in a vagina. All right, so don't forget, this is the aponeurosis tendon, and that's what that is. These are not the rope style. The rope style come way down like this and have a whole batch of balls at the end. These straps come down through the flat aponeurosis area, and then they lock in all over the place. And this is what they look like when they're very, very big. That's one of those balls. The tendon strap right here, or whatever it locked into, has eroded away. But you can see them here, they're over here, they're all over the place. There was another one here, and it actually broke off from this little fiber right here. That's the center of it. It came down, and I'm sure it went right down to this one, or it might have been down to this one here. All right, they're both big balls, just like he was looking at. And this is the size of them. I'm sorry, these things are just absolutely stunningly gigantic. The Earth is made of creatures that were spectacularly large. There's no other way to look at it. And again, this is the style of, after all the adipose tissue, the fatty tissue, the muscular, these are muscles. So not quite down to this muscle layer, but everything else stripped down. And then you get all of these attachments where the muscles invest. All right, so I'm just going to leave it with this. These are breasts. All right, and everything's eroded down to where you have all your connective tissue quite visible. All right, so those are breasts, which shows that tissue, that special tissue for the breast tissue on a woman. That's a breast. This is just broken off, and all of that strappy stuff is basically outer connective tissue and just the tissue that surrounds the internal part of the breast. And here's another one somewhere else. These are actually boobs. They're not what he was looking at. All right, remember I told you about the linea alba? That's the seam. What happens is when you're born, when you're first conceived, at a certain cell level, I think, like I say, I think it's 64, it inverts. This ball inverts, and this seam comes together like this and makes the linea alba, straight up the line. Now, when you die and it gets soaked for a long period of time, and then you dry back out again, that seam cracks open. All it was it was glued together. All right, so don't forget, this seam I'm going to show you, but it's going to be in a vagina. So if you don't want to see the vagina, don't look, because it's coming up right now. And this proves my point quite well. You see that seam right there? That little tiny seam running right up. That's the linea alba. That's where your bodies seam together, and it just cracks open, and it makes that little tiny split. Nobody carved that there. Everybody, oh, it just was carved. No, absolutely not. This actually is the face of a baby. You see that right there? This was a coffin birth. The other side, you don't see it at all. This side is perfectly normal. That's what it should be, and that should be just like this. Only this is a baby's face, because he died before he was born. And that's his face, and you see these little ripples right here? This is just ripped right out of the tissue. They're pushed right through the tissue. That's where the tissue has ripped. That's his face, and this is where his shoulder was, and that's his arm, and the hand's not there. And this is the Tracian womb cave. All right, and any of the women that had boobs, most of them had one of these. Of course, nowadays you can't always tell. But this is another linea alba, and the guy's, I don't know what he's doing in there, but he's doing something. But this is where that seam goes right up the body. I think I made my case. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I think I made my case. And I want to make one statement. The fella that was going out and looking at those rock formations is from the channel, the POV channel. He seems like a nice guy, and he seems to ask a lot of questions. And now that he mentioned that he thought he could see some anatomy, maybe he's coming around to understand that what he's looking at is anatomical. It's not just rocks. And he's always asking questions. That's why I responded. Now, here's the key. I was the first to discover mud fossils. I was so shocked I couldn't believe it. I had them DNA tested and some of them CAT scanned, because I got small ones, not all gigantic, but I do have some big ones too. Certainly nothing like this. Now, at that point I was blacklisted, literally blacklisted. I was destroyed by everybody for every kind of reason you can think of, just to shut me up. And I did not shut up. But I was completely on my own, and just babbling on about this stuff for 15 years. So now I see things are starting to come around a little bit. And I need, the beauty of this thing is I've been like a very, very long time. And a few people, which were the intelligent people, the ones with open minds, that could analyze what they saw with a critical thinking mind, started to come around. And before long, I had literally hundreds, possibly thousands of spies that were going all around the world to things that were in their area. Like this guy, I think his name is Brate Thomas, and he's a fabulous work. But he's always asking these questions. How did this happen? Who can explain this? Well, I tried, and I think he wasn't pleased with my answers, but what can I say? I'm hoping as people loosen up a little bit and let their mental fabric sort of relax, and with an open mind. I'm still being attacked. It's multiple daily assaults, even with all the evidence I show. You have no evidence at all. You're just an idiot. Well, I might be an idiot, but I got evidence. So anyway, I love you all. I'm going to leave it at that for today. Thank you.